Hello. I'm gonna see if I'm able to share this with a group. I was hoping to share this with a couple of the rock groups, and I'm gonna see if that's gonna work. Okay, y'all. So, if I'm in a group that I'm not supposed to be in, because I was kind of late trying to get permission, please just go ahead and remove me if I'm not supposed to be in the group. And if y'all have a rock group and you want to share it, then I'll be more than happy to let you share it. If you want to do a watch page on your own Facebook page, that's fine. You know, I save all these videos. Sometimes they go a couple hours. So if it ends up going late, then, you know, I always save them and you can come back and look at them later. I've got to get my husband's phone going so I can see some comments. And I turn his down if I don't. All right. Okay, so I got a lot of comments on this stone. Hopefully the lighting will be okay. But I got a lot of questions about this stone. So I just thought I would go ahead and go live and let's try to see how it's gonna work. Now I'm gonna do a couple of things just to check my settings. Sometimes it goes a little blurry and then comes back, and then I look at it later and it looks okay. So let's see here. I see 20 people on right now. Hey y'all. Well, that flamingo with the teals and pinks was the winner tonight. And so I want to go ahead and, because you know, I posted like 4 different color themes and y'all picked the one that you liked, so we calculated them. And actually this one kind of won by a landslide. So let me talk for a few minutes about the way I do the ovals, because that's the biggest question that I get, because a lot of my mandalas have ovals on them. And I make the ovals using little flathead screwdrivers. Okay, so they look straight, but when you dot with them, they turn into ovals. I also use coffee stirrers that I got from Starbucks and Panera Bread. They have a really thin end on them, which actually makes like almost like a little line. I also use push-on erasers. Let me see if I can, like this, just a bag of erasers. When you clean your erasers, just wipe them. Now, you know, when I'm painting, I don't wipe with any water. I don't use a damp cloth. I just use a dry terry cloth, old washcloth or old kitchen hand towel, and I just wipe flat, because if not, you'll start to wear the eraser down and you'll change the shape of your oval. And it does to me. I'm looking at my husband's phone. It looks like it's getting a little bit blurry. Joy said she's not getting any sound. Can anyone else hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay, so a couple of the other things I use to make ovals is popsicle sticks, wood coffee stirrers. Okay, thanks Alexis, I'm glad you can hear me. This is gonna get crazy, y'all. Look, the end of a plastic knife, they make pretty good. Now I have to take these ends and sand them off just a little bit, because they almost always have a little point on them. but I use those. I've used an emery board. Y'all, I have played around so much with these ovals. And then I have a couple of popsicle sticks. Well, I think these are like craft sticks. I have a big one and a little one. And I have actually taken some sandpaper and I filed them down a little bit like that to make them a little thinner and just get the shape that I want out of it. So that is how I make my oval shapes. Now, if you want to know what dotting tools I use for my dots, I use nail dotting tools. I get these, well, you can get them at Sally Beauty Supply, online, Amazon has them now. And then I use these crochet hooks. And I think a lot of people have really started loving these crochet hooks. And I think Michael's has them now. They are actually brand named as Susan Bates Crystallites. And the packages come in 2 sizes. This one size has, the one package has 5 different sizes, and you use the flat end. And it's really hard for me to see a lot of the comments. So I try to come up with them just a little bit. I'm sorry you're having trouble, Joyce, not hearing me. But you use the flat ends, okay? This one has bigger ones, and I use the flat ends. And the Susan Bates, I always had trouble with what goes in between my largest dot on my dotting tool and the smallest crochet hook. Well, Susan Bates put out individual sizes, and there's 3 of them. And that's the individual sizes. Y'all, you see they're dirty. Okay, so since they're dirty, I'm gonna show you how I cleaned them. I use nail polish remover in a jar. Take the top off of it. I hope this isn't too blurry. When it gets close to the camera, it gets blurry. So I'll just kind of go slow so it has time to clear up. And so all you have to do is put the tool in it. Sometimes you have to let it sit for a minute. Doesn't hurt the tools. And then they start, this one, I really need to add some fingernail polish remover to it. But at any rate, see, they start to come clean. So that's how I clean them off. When I make mistakes, I use pointed Q-tips to clean up my mistakes. I dip them in a little bit of water, get them damp. And I get these pointed Q-tips from CVS. They're CVS brand. Okay. What else can I tell you? Oh, this is the stone we're gonna do tonight. Okay. It is a molded stone. My husband makes them out of molds that we got from the Happy Dotting Company. This is a mold. He uses anchor cement. Okay. So when they come out, they actually come out looking like this. Sometimes the backs are a little rougher. I think it has a lot to do with the humidity in the air, how hot it is in the garage when he's working on it, but I can sand them down. The really cool thing about that mold, it's got one little tiny dot right in the center that's raised, so it tells you exactly where the center of your stone is. Now, when I'm not painting on a stone that, we've got like 4 or 5 different sizes of these stones. This is the biggest one. When I'm not using those, I paint on what's called Mexican beach pebbles. And this is what a Mexican beach pebble looks like. The reason that I use these stones is because they are super, super smooth. Okay? And, sorry y'all, his, let's see. Let me make sure that my volume's all the way up. I don't know what's going on with some people that can't hear me. But these are super smooth. And I get them from a place called Stone Center in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Okay, so I'm able to go pick them out. A lot of them have little pits and stuff in them, and some people have found them online, like Home Depot and Lowe's. You can get a bag online, but the problem when you get them like at Home Depot or Lowe's and you buy a bag of them, sometimes they're cracked, sometimes they've got really bad pits in them, sometimes they're just not really very paintable. So I just stick to getting them from Stone Center. Not everyone can do that, so that's kind of what I'm able to do out here. You just have to kind of look around, look at your landscape places. Okay, so this stone is already base coated with just any old black paint, acrylic paint. Everything I use is acrylic paint. I use lots of different brands, but I have a couple brands that I favor over others. And because a friend taught me that it is easier to correct mistakes if you go ahead and put a coat of DuraClear on the stone first. So I always base coat with whatever color I'm going to use, and then I put a base coat of DuraClear on. Okay. Well, 114, 15, yay, I was hoping to get 100. So I have gone over my goal. Thank y'all so much. Okay, so let's get to it. I'm gonna just put the center dot. So y'all, I don't use guidelines or anything like that. I use imaginary lines, but I'm gonna show you how it's easy to keep up. Hey y'all are just all over the place. I shared with about 6 or 7 different rock groups, so hopefully that was okay. Okay, it's hard to recreate the same stone twice, but I'm gonna do my best, and hopefully it will turn out very similar to the other one. I'm gonna start with a small dot in the middle, okay? So I'm just loading up. And when you dot, I sometimes just kind of hold it like this, but when you dot, you really don't want your tool to hit the stone. The point is that you do it lightly enough that the drop of paint goes on without it hitting actually the base of the stone. Now there are some times when we're doing something called walking the dots, and I'll show you that, that it actually does hit the stone, but it's not as bad. These screwdrivers, they're come in a 6-pack, and it's 3 packs of the flathead, 3 of the flathead and 3 of the Phillips head, you know, that little star looking thing. And I was hoping one day that I would use that Phillips head and it would come out looking like a little star, but it didn't. It was a blob, y'all. So I had to just work on using the flathead screwdrivers. And I have bigger ones. I mean, you know, you can use a bigger flathead screwdriver. Just gonna make big ovals, okay? So the first thing that I'm gonna do is show you how. I'm gonna start out with pink. This one is called Baby Pink. The paints that I'm using tonight are Americana. And this is called Baby Pink. This is the first one that I'm gonna use. And I have just been a collector of paint, y'all. I have a lot of paint. And the thing is, I think that some of the paint has gotten old now, and so it's not as nice and smooth as it once was. So I'm looking to be getting some new paint here pretty soon. I hope this is, let me do it this way. Okay. I'm gonna put this over here so you can see how often I wipe. Now, I make a cross, okay? One up and down. That's how I start. Those are my lines, okay? Now I'm gonna turn it. Now, this thing that it's on, this is just a piece of like shelf paper, and it just kind of keeps the stone from sliding around on my table. So then I'm gonna turn it this way, and I'm gonna do another right in the center, okay, and then again right below that one. So I've made a cross, okay. That's how you start out a mandala, whether you're starting it out with dots or you're starting it out with the, I call it seeds, the ovals that everybody talks about. Now, when you're at this point, you have a decision to make. Are you going to put a line in the middle, or are you going to put two? And on this mandala, I'm going to put two. So I'm going to put one there. And you know what? They don't all look the same. I'm going to put one there. My goal is for them not to touch. My voice sounds squeaky tonight. Okay, but that's my goal, is I don't want them to touch. They don't always space out exactly like I would like them, but we live with it. What I tell people is I like to enjoy the process. I'm not going to freak out over being a perfectionist, because once that whole stone is done, you're not going to notice it anyway. Every now and then, like that one I just put, these stones, even the ones we make, have some little like air bubbles when they're made. And when you dot something that's not perfectly smooth, then it doesn't look like a dot, like it gets a little divot in it. And sometimes that drives me a little crazy, but my husband's pretty good about not getting too many bubbles like that in them. Okay, so now we're ready for the second row. I'm going to use this little screwdriver. And look, it says still. It just came with a, my husband bought a leaf blower. And I saw this little screwdriver. And I'm like, wait a minute, I don't have one that size. He knows where to look for his screwdrivers, y'all. Now, I did not have a lighter color than this. And I wanted 3 colors of the teal and 3 colors of the pink. So I'm going to mix my own light teal. This is called a Bahama Blue. And I'm just going to put it in, and I'm going to add a little bit of white to it. And just lighten it up a hair, because I wanted the 3 colors and I just didn't have it. So let's see if we can lighten this up just enough to have it a little lighter than that color. Y'all, you know it's hard for me to see comments, so if I will go back later after the live, and if there's questions that I haven't answered, then I'll try to answer them. And every now and then I'll pause for a minute and check out. All right, yeah, there's you work for a steel dealer. Oh my gosh, I would just go crazy if I had that choice of all those screwdrivers. Okay, now when I'm wanting to see what a dot does, I do it right there on my palette. That is a little big for what I was thinking of, but I think we're gonna go with it anyway. Like I said, it's really hard to recreate. Let me show y'all what this Starbucks coffee stirrer does. If you can see it, I just dip the end in it like that, and it makes it pretty cool. And then the one from Panera, it's a little like longer, and it makes more of a line. Look at that. So one of the things that you can do when you're first starting to dot and you want to practice is, I went to the Dollar Tree, and they have what's called plastic, well, I think actually Walmart has them too, but Dollar Tree, they're $1. Plastic cutting boards. And I cut mine in 2 down, 2 across, made 9 squares out of it. And on my squares, I put down what each of my tools, what kind of a shape it made and how big they were, so that it kind of gave me a guide when I was first working with a lot of things. The other thing I've practiced on before now, like this, because you can wipe this stuff right off. And you can do it again and do it again and do it again. But the other thing that I used to practice on that is not very expensive is I went to Walmart and I got a pack of black cardstock. Wow, I know that some people are really struggling to see this, but I hope that once I save it, you can go back and watch it. Not sure what else I can do because I think a whole lot of people can actually hear me. Somebody give me a thumbs up if you can still hear me okay. I'm just checking. Okay, I see some thumbs. There you go. Okay, second row. Let's do the second row. Let's get this show on the road. I'm going to go between each one of those. And because I'm wanting to keep them pretty thin, I'm going to probably wipe my tool after each time I do that. Now, I'm gonna still go from end to end like that because I just want to kind of keep that what do they call it, symmetry. Okay, and so sometimes I get a little too much paint, got to redo it, that's okay. Okay, now, and y'all know that most of y'all, when you watched me before, because I do try to go live pretty often now that I've got my internet back, and my goal is to get like a camera so y'all aren't experiencing anything blurry. I have tried my best to keep it from being blurry, and sometimes it just is. So sometimes I luck out and it's not, and then sometimes it is. So I'm really sorry if it is, but I'm working on getting that camera so that it's not blurry. Okay, let me wipe this tool off. Okay, getting there with the second row. Okay. And then there's also something else that I use if I'm working on a Mexican beach pebble and I'm trying to find the center of my stone. I'm a nurse, and so I think that that's where this came from. I have this thing called a wound measuring guide, and it's just plastic, right? And so if I'm trying to find the center of a stone, I can just lay the stone down and decide where I want to start, put a little dot there with a pencil or something, and voila, I found the center of my stone. So that's another little helpful hint. Now, what I want to do is I want to go between each one of these, and I want to make a line, an oval right down below it. So it'll be offset just a tiny bit from the other ones. When I feel like the paint or the ovals are getting too thick or my dots are getting too thick, I always make sure to wipe my tool. And then my very favorite thing to do to really make these stones pop is to top dot them. And so you will see me do that. And we'll talk about that more as we go along. That looks like it's a piece of lint on this stone. And I feel like if I move it, I think I'm just going to leave it. Nope. Hold on a minute, y'all. It's a piece of lint. I got it. Crazy. So I'm in so many rock groups because when I was a travel nurse, I was in a lot of places. My husband was retired. We traveled together, and so that's when I started painting. I was in lots of different places. What size is the stone I'm working on? You know what? I can't remember. I think it's number 3 from the Happy Dotting Company. It is palm size. I think they're 4 inches is what they are. Let's see. All right. I think some people can finally hear now. Okay. What is next? Okay. It looks like next I'm going to do the second color of pink, which is Carousel Pink. It's a little bit darker than the first pink. And so I'm going to do that with a popsicle stick. So I'm just playing around for a minute to see what kind of dot it makes, how thick the paint is. Because, you know, I don't care. Even if you get a different brand of paint, you know, it's like women's jeans. I don't care if they're the same brand. They all are a little bit different. So I think the thickness and, what do you call it? What's the word? The viscosity of the paint can all be a little bit different. Okay, so I'm going to put this not where the longer ones are, but every time there's one that goes up like that, I'm going to put an oval there. I hear my puppy. What you doing, chap? Did y'all see that video where I was trying to walk him? I'm trying to walk him. I think he walks me. He still pulls, but I'm going to get this leash called a harness lead, and I think that that will help a lot. But he's a good boy. He's a Mastiff Pit, so he's big. And I need to cut his toenails. That's why you can hear him. Ron, I have 110 people watching. All right. Ron helped me count up the from the poll of which colors I should use tonight. I called him off and he wrote them down and we figured out which one won. Okay, so now I have. Hey, I'm making rocks for sale too. Oh, yeah, and he said he makes these rocks for sale too. What are they, Ron? They're like $3.50 a piece, aren't they? $3.50, $3.25, something like that. And then the smaller ones are a little bit cheaper, but he does make them. So anybody wants some molded stones, give me a message. That's his job. He makes the stones. I am using Deco Art Americana right now. Okay, so here are some of the little dots at the end. Now, when I'm doing this, you see, I still have my imaginary line from this side to this side, okay? That's how I kind of keep my mandala going in the right direction without guidelines. I just look at this one, and that went between those, that one and that one, okay? So it's like an imaginary line that I use. When you're gonna make these petals, I always go around and put the dot in the center first. And I'm looking at the line right above it and just trying to keep it in the same line and making sure I'm putting it in the middle. When you're making petals, the dot in the center, you want to be the biggest dot. It looks like I kind of got these a little cockeyed, but it's okay. We'll live. I have been dotting for 3 years now. Started in April 2017. And I just really enjoy it so much. And I love showing people what I do. I mean, you know, there's a whole lot of dotters that dot better than me, but I just love what I do. Now, this is called walking the dots. I'm going to try and just let this, hopefully the camera's not too awful blurry. And what you do is you just put some paint, and I don't put much. I just put a little bit of paint on the very smallest tool that I have, and then you just walk them right up. Just like that. Now, when it's the tiny dots, I usually wipe between every set, okay? And when they're tiny, I don't really talk because I'm holding my breath to be steady. So, okay. It is so good to see so many friends on here. I just love these, and thank you for all the comments when I post rocks. I'll tell y'all, there's a reason behind my madness of posting like every single rock I've ever painted. And I don't, I think I know of about maybe 5 out of the hundreds that I've painted that I actually did not get a picture of. And it's amazing because I really do try to get a picture of every single one. But I get what's called the My Social book, and it's like a yearbook from Facebook. And I started getting them when my husband and I were traveling because I put so many of our travel pictures and adventures on Facebook. And when I saw this thing, it was like, it's like your own yearbook for the year. And every post that you've put on there is in this book. And so I like to post the pictures of my stones because at the end of the year, when I get the My Social book, all of my stones are right there in one place, all the pictures of my stones. So that's pretty much why I post so many pictures of my stones, because that way I can get them all on the yearbook. Maybe I'll do a little video after this and show y'all what those books look like. I did one when I first got the first couple of years, and I have a couple of years now that I still need to get. I haven't gone yet, but anyway, it's not going anywhere. Let me ask y'all. Oh, thanks. Y'all are so sweet. Is this blurry to y'all? Yes, Jamie, I do. I hide them. I gift them. I trade them. I do sell them, but I'm not on here to talk about that seriously because that's not what this is about. I want y'all Y'all have had a lot of questions on how to do this, and I want y'all to be able to do this. It's so much fun. But my husband and I were just talking about, I've got quite a few made up, and I just made a bunch of those minis. I'm going to show y'all how to do those tonight too. And it was, I said, we got to go hide some rocks. But I think every person that ever walks into my house walks out of my house with a rock in their hand. And then lots of people at work, and then just people that are kind of going through some stuff. And, you know, it's just, when it hits me, you know, I wrote the poem that goes with these rocks. And I think the poem really kind of brings it out on how special a lot of people feel that they are. So I'll put the poem in the comments. I think most of y'all have probably see it. Okay, good. So some people are saying that it's clear, and that's good because my husband's phone is showing that it is blurry. So hopefully, could just be the internet. We got to go hide rocks tomorrow, Ron. Huh? We got to go hide some rocks tomorrow. Why? 'Cause I've got so many over here. Right now, if I hide, I'm going to be hiding in probably either Short Pump or Fredericksburg in Virginia. Now, see, you could look at that and say, well, that one's bigger than the rest of them. Y'all, I am not worried about it. I just keep on going. Just keep on going. Okay, now, looking at what I did in on the other stone, I did a drag dot after that, and it was in the same color as this row right here. So I'm gonna mix this. Sometimes when they sit a few minutes, especially when the light's really close right now, like what I'm doing right now, because I've got a light like right on this for this video, the paint will dry out pretty fast. So here again, I use my palette to make sure that things are gonna be smooth. Now, let me tell y'all about these drag dots, okay? I'm gonna show you something. This is, I'm just gonna use a piece of this clear stuff right here, and I think I will do this in a different color so you can see what I'm doing. When you drag a dot, and if anybody else has better suggestions, hey, go ahead and put them on up here. Okay. You drag dots very, very slow. There's nothing fast about it. And when you think you can't go any slower, go slower. Okay? So put some paint on. And when you're dragging, you go really, really, really slow. And then you speed up just a little bit when you want it to end. Okay? I don't know how good that's showing up. Let's see. Let me try it on a palette. Maybe you can see it better. When you drag, you start and you go super slow. Like that. Okay? So that's what we're going to do on here. We're just going to drag a dot right on through here. Okay? Now, I know that y'all can't all stay on the whole time, but remember, it's saved on my page, so you can always go back and catch the replay. Or Lind. Okay, I'm gonna go start about right here, and I want it to end about right there. And I'm gonna wipe this tool after each one of them so they can try to stay. They're not all gonna be the same size, y'all. I'm no perfectionist at this. I just I just try to do the best I can. I try to give you inspiration to try it yourself. Aw. What is that I'm painting with? I am painting with a nail dotting tool. They come in a pack of 5. You can get them at Sally Beauty Supply or on Amazon. But they're the ones that they paint your fingernails with, the little designs on your fingernails in the nail shop, in the nail salon. And they have different sizes on the ends. Okay, let's see here. Some of these are getting a little big at the end, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do about that. So maybe I'm not going to put as much paint on this time. Here again, I'm following an imaginary line. So from that oval to the end of that line, that's what I'm following. That's how I get away with not using anything for guidelines. Is just the fact that I just try to keep it just try to keep it going in the same kind of direction as I'm looking at this imaginary line from here to here. See, I'm watching that line. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do, see, I keep looking at this rock. I'm trying to do basically the same thing. Okay. Bigger dot right here. And it's going to be the same color as the pink in the middle. So this does have a little bit of a top of it. So I've got to, y'all can see, I'm just mixing it up a little bit to get that stuff off the top of it. I am using Americana paints, Deco Art, for anybody that's just joining. I like Americana because they're not very translucent. That's what I have found, that a lot of the paints, especially yellow, orange, and red, they're so translucent. They just dry and you can like see right through it. So I have found that I like the Americana. There's other brands that people like too, but I really like the Americana because they're a good consistency and you can't really see through them. Now, I'm going to use one of the crochet hooks. Oops. I'm trying to see my comments. Okay. Oh, y'all are really so sweet. Okay, so these ones that Sally Bates put out, the 3 different sizes, I'm going to use the smallest one, and I'm not exactly sure. Let me see if it's a 3.50. This one, this pack that she has, I use the packs. Look, it starts at a 4, a 5, a 5.5, a 6, and a 6.5. And then the other ones that she put out are white. You can get all these at Michael's or you can get them online. This one's a 3.50, 3.75, and this is a 3.25. So this 3.25 is the smallest one. And look, I wrote a little number 1 on it so I would know. But I'm going to put a dot right under each one of those dots. I'm trying to keep this very similar to the other one because that's what I told you I was going to paint. And that was kind of a new one for me. I hadn't done one with a petal going around the ovals like that one. Oops, I better wipe that off. Those dots are getting a little big. You can tell when the dots are starting to get big that you need to wipe your tool. And if you notice one is bigger than it, just don't worry about it too much. Just keep going with it. You're not going to notice a lot of that stuff once you get completely done with the stone. And it's nothing to stress about. There's enough stressors in the world. We don't need to stress over a dot. Okay. Okay. Now what I did on that other stone was I put a little dot on each side. And because the paint looks like it's really kind of getting a little bit thick, I'm going to put a couple more drops in the palette. And I'll just use off of that. Okay. So a dot here and a dot there on each side. And I really like to have them a little bit bigger, so I'm going to redot that. Okay. I try to keep this up at the top because people can see comments and watch. But sometimes I get a little distracted and it starts to slide down, so I put myself a little line here so I know not to get crazy and let it slide down outside of the view of the camera. So have y'all started hiding rocks again now? I mean, I know that some of the rock groups I'm in, people are like, are y'all hiding yet? I'm gonna go pick up a rock. If I find a rock, I'm gonna go pick it up. I know what hand sanitizer is. I mean, I can sanitize my hand after I pick up a rock, but I don't think it's actually, and I mean, maybe that might also be determined by where you live, because a lot of people have all of this stuff going on in a whole lot worse, areas. And I'm trying to look at comments. Oh, it just started in Tucson. Yeah. I'm actually a regional nurse over 5 nursing homes in Virginia. So we have to have lots of conversations about it. So, yeah, it's something else. Just be safe. I think it's a lot of the nursing homes have really struggled with it. But on to happier topics. I don't know, did y'all see that rocket launch today? Oh my gosh, it made me cry. It was so cool. And my son was there. My son lives in Florida now, and he was there. That is so cool. Okay, where are we at now? Okay, so here's the part where I had done something that I had not done before. And I'm going to use a darker, let's see, do I want to use a darker pink or hang on, I'm looking. I'm going to use this really pretty color. It's called Peacock Teal. We're going to just go with the color and just make this thing pop. Oh, hey, Carol, you're a quilter. My husband's mom was a quilter, right, Ron?
What's that?
A quilter? Your mom made quilts?
What?
Your mama made quilts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she made everything with it.
No, yeah, she did lots of stuff. His sister does, too. His sister embroiders. That's what she does. She embroiders. Okay, what am I going to make this dot out of? I think it was pretty much the same thing that I used before. So, yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
My mother crocheted, quilted,
Oh, really? She did it all, huh?
sewed, made wedding dresses.
Oh my gosh.
Give her a piece of string and she
Give her a piece of string and she could do it, huh?
make it done.
Okay, y'all. There you go. Those are those two little ovals on each side of the drag dot. I'm gonna wipe this off. I don't want it to get too thick with paint, but I gotta also make sure I'm not getting fuzz on it. But this is actually a new towel. It's an old washcloth that I'm using. My other towel, I had folded it and used every single piece of it until there was just nothing left. So I had to get me a new towel. And I think this one has, like, I don't know, I'm getting lint off of it, which I never really did that off the other one. So I might have to find me a different towel. If y'all are from a rock group and it's being shared on the rock page, can you comment? Because I really would like to know what rock groups are on. And if you've shared this to a rock group, which you absolutely can do, you can share it on your own page. You can share it to a rock group. Just drop me a comment and let me know if you're watching it from a rock group that I've shared it to. Whoa, that one was close. They almost touched. I really do. That's my biggest goal when I'm doing these, is whatever I'm doing, I just don't want it to touch. That's close too. Sometimes when they get close like that, as they're drying a little bit, they spread out. And so they do end up touching like that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a small little dot in the middle, and then I put a round dot. Okay, so let me use, I'm going to use one of the screwdrivers. I'm going to use the same screwdriver that I used to do the first row. Okay. All right, Lompoc. Oh my gosh, Rosie, I have to tell you this because of the launch today. It really brought back my memories of Lompoc because I was on assignment at a nursing home in Lompoc. My husband and I were there for about 3 months. I just met some wonderful friends there. Oh my gosh, it was such a cool place. But SpaceX did one of their launches at Vandenberg Air Force Base, and we got to go watch it. It was so loud, but that was just such a fun day. And then the other thing that I did when we were at Lompoc, y'all, the town of Lompoc has so many murals painted. It's just an artist's dream to be out there because we just went around the city and took so many pictures of all the murals that were out there. And it's funny because I had gotten all these pictures and I got this little, like a little album, you know, of all these pictures, the murals that were on the buildings out there. And I was taking them in and show them to the people that I was working with. They're like, you know, we've lived out here and we didn't even realize there were that many of those things out here. So, and it's funny because when we were traveling, we would always explore the things of wherever we were at. And so it was just really cool because so many people would say, I don't even do that stuff, you know. I'm in this town and I don't even do that stuff. But they were just really, really cool. Okay, I'm going to put one dot under each one of those. Now, I'm still keeping in line with this imaginary line that's going from this way to this way, okay? This is how I do it without the guidelines, is I just keep following from the very start. I'm just following these imaginary lines. And so this is going to get some top dots on it. This looks a little blue on the video, but it's actually like a very dark teal. So tomorrow I will, in the daylight, because I like taking my pictures in the daylight, you'll see the colors really good on the picture that I do. Y'all, I cannot paint a stick man. Oh, look at that. I messed up. I can't paint a stick man. Let me get some water. Hold on a second. But I can dot. So you're not going to see things on my page. Now see, all I do is if I want to get rid of that one dot, I just get rid of the one dot. Okay. There you go. That's why the pointed Q-tips are so important. And then I can do it again. Make sure it's dry. Okay. But nope, I can't paint. I can dot. Now, from that dot, I'm going to use the white, and because it's got a little skim over it, I'm going to just add some more to the palette. I hate to say I waste paint, but I go through a lot of paint, so. And I'm going to, this is what I did in that other stone. Just going to go around it like that. Okay. And I'm going to do it again. Okay. Okay. All right. See, that was just a new design that I did on that other stone. It's just kind of weird because it's not the same type of petals we always see going around a circle. I have to tell y'all though, I'm gonna sleep much better tonight. I will tell you why. Our air conditioner in the house went out. Thank goodness my son has a friend who does AC, and he came out and looked at it, but they've had to order the part. And so this house is so hot. But we went out today and we got a couple window units. And so I put one in my office and one in the bedroom, but I am painting. I paint in the kitchen, y'all, believe it or not. And so it's warm in here. But tonight I'm gonna sleep much better than I slept last night, because it was hot in this house. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to get a different towel, because that towel definitely has some fuzz coming off of it. And I just have never used anything damp. I don't know why. I know a lot of people do. I just never have. Oh, thanks, Kim. Y'all are so sweet to me. I really appreciate all of the comments and everything. And that people really like watching and learning. I do not mind if you copy my patterns. I always have a lot of people ask. Now, I will say that you should never copy an artist's pattern without asking, okay? There's artists that work really hard on their specific designs. And really, until I kind of got into the rock world, I didn't really understand that. I mean, I saw things on Pinterest and I'm like, hey, I want to paint that. And so I did. But we just have to be careful. If it's something that looks like somebody's own designs, hey, if you know who did it, then ask them. That's all I'm saying. But I try to not to copy anybody's, especially the ones that, you know, really seem like they've put a lot of time into certain patterns. But I do give permission for people to copy my patterns. Because that's how you learn. I mean, you have to copy something to learn. So that's why I do this. If it were my sole income or something like that, then I might get a little crazy over it, but it's not. So I just want you to learn and have fun. Put them out in the world. Oh no, I'm not even going to change that. What does Bob Ross call that? A happy accident? I'm just going to leave it alone. Okay. Now, I'm going to use the darker pink, the darkest pink, Royal Fuchsia is what this one's called. And it's a darker, pretty pink. And I'm going to use that. Now, I'm going to show you all a trick. Because this rock, because I'm starting to go on the sides now, right? I'm going to be putting dots on here. They're going to be bigger dots, so it's going to be more paint. And there's a chance that it could run, right? But I don't want it to run. So what's going to happen is I'm going to go ahead and around and I'm going to dot this pretty fast, right? And then I'm going to take this stone very gently and I'm going to flip it and hold it upside down like this. I might shake it back and forth a couple times, but that is going to that's going to let that paint not run. It's just going to be held upside down for a minute or two. Because these are definitely going to be bigger dots and I don't want them to run. Putting them right, see how it's going to end up dripping. So I'm going to do this pretty fast without messing up, hopefully. I really need a manicure, y'all. Don't be looking at my fingernails. I've struggled with psoriasis for so long. I'm just happy not to have anything going on with my hands. My psoriasis is hands and feet, so when I don't have my hands cracking open, whoo-hoo, I'm so happy. And right now, they're looking good, so I'm just a happy camper right now. But sometimes I go live and my hands ain't always that pretty, but you ain't looking at my hands, you're looking at my dots. Okay, that one needs to be a little bit bigger. So very carefully, I'm gonna dot it one more time. Okay, now with super care, I'll put this in my hand, I'm gonna flip it over for a minute. It doesn't take long for around the edges of that dot to kind of get that little crust on it, right? So I don't worry about it. It just doesn't take but a minute. And I just I do that just to keep the dots going in the right direction. In the middle. We want the dots in the middle, not draining down to the bottom. Oh my gosh. Cynthia Fox. Oh, I'm glad y'all are going to try this. Oh, wow. You said it'd be beautiful on a flower pot. Now that you said that, I have to show you something. I have an African violet that I got, and I put it in a pot, and I've had it for like 2 years now, and the thing was just too big. So I had to get a bigger pot. But if this is not too close to the, let me pull this up a little bit so you can see it. Look, a flower pot. So I had to show you my flower pot. But I just had to paint another one because that one had just gotten too big. I mean, too small. Okay, so see there's like a line around that dot. That means they're dry. They're not gonna drip anymore. So we are good. Absolutely, you can copy the pattern. I don't mind at all. So the perfectly round rock. At the beginning, I had said that my husband makes these rocks out of molds. I had the mold. I showed it earlier. Where'd the mold go? Here's a mold. Here's the mold. He uses anchor cement, and they just pop right out. It only takes a couple hours for them to set, okay? So that is how I get this perfectly round, concrete, handmade, we call them art stones. I buy the molds from, actually from Australia, the Happy Dotting Company, and they're just amazing. They also come in hearts, they come in ovals, so they're really cool. Okay, now what are we doing now? Okay, so now I just have to do some, let's see what I need to do. I just need to go around that stone for a couple times with some petals, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to do this. Now, where I'm going with this is I'm going to put the dot, I'm going to follow this dot straight on down, keeping that line, okay? That imaginary line that keeps the whole thing symmetrical. I'm going to try and speed this up. Y'all, I get to talking and I paint slow. That's why these things go on for a couple of hours. But like I said, I always save them to my page, so you can always come back. Feel free to friend me if you want to make sure you're going to know when I'm going to come on and go live. Now that I've got my internet, I'll be going live a lot more. And I just like to go live and paint and chat, and I have fun. So what's my opinion of UltraCal 30? I have never used it, so I have no opinion on it. I couldn't get it here. Oh, I couldn't find it. Maybe I couldn't. I just didn't know where to look. But I couldn't find it here in Virginia. And I was impatient. And I didn't want to order it off of Amazon, which I know you can order it off of Amazon. So my husband said, let me just get some anchor cement. Now, my thought with cement's like gritty. It's not going to be smooth. But what we did is we got one of those flour sifters, you know, the kind that you use your hand and you pump, you know, with your hand. An old-timey, I guess, flour sifter. And we sift it. There's not a lot of grit in it anyway, but you sift it out. And you saw how smooth those stones are. I mean, those stones are really smooth. So, yeah, it seemed to work okay. And so I've never tried any other thing. Now, when you're doing petals and you're gonna, you know, you run into, it's amazing how some are close and some are further away. Just don't worry about it. Just keep going with it. You're not gonna notice things. You think when you're painting, oh, this is gonna look horrible. But you know what? Once it's all done, you just don't notice it. So I tell y'all, keep going. When you think, oh, this is awful, just keep going. It's not always perfect, but it doesn't have to be. And trust me, the stones I did when I first started, oh, it was not the same as what I do now. I mean, you grow. Anything you do that you practice, you get better at. In fact, let's see, I had my first stone. Now this is after practicing a little bit. But I had my first stone. Y'all want to see my first stone? That's my very first stone that I actually did on a rock. Big difference. So 3 years of painting makes a difference. And so now I like to try to show other people tips and tricks that I've learned. I'm more quiet when I do little dots. I keep talking about doing a YouTube channel, but just haven't done it. Got lots going on right now, so it's just nice to be able to sit and paint. It's my de-stressor. Now on this dot, the big dot, I'm gonna do 3 petals, 3 different colors around it. And I'm gonna be top dotting here in just a little bit. We're about done with the first set of basic dots. If you can't stay on, remember I saved these so you can come back later and finish watching it. If you go under my photos on my Facebook page and you go to albums and go to videos, you'll see like all of them that I've done. There's a few that I've done that I think I didn't save because I just didn't hit the save button. So missed out, but most of them I've saved. And you can speed them up and stuff like that. You don't have to you don't necessarily have to sit and listen to the whole thing. I try to do them completely, pretty much completely in one sitting. People ask, well, how long does it take you to paint a stone like that? Well, it's a little longer right now because I'm talking, and so I do paint slower when I'm talking. But it's, okay, now I'm going to use a medium teal color. Remember the one that I added some white to get that lighter teal. So when you do another petal below the one that you just did, you go, I felt my finger touch that stone. You go for a dot that's a little bigger than the one that you had above it. Okay, so that's this is kind of a thick paint that I'm using. It's Americana, but it's just thicker than what I've been using. So I don't think I'm gonna have to hold this upside down to make it not run. I don't think this is gonna run. After I do these 3 petals, we're gonna start top dotting. That is what makes the stone. It's not what we're doing right now. This is just the base. It's top dotting. Whoa, did you see myself do that? Oh my gosh. Hold on, let me get some water. I'm getting crazy over here. That is not in the center by any means. Woof, gone. You see, if I didn't have a layer of Duraclear on this stone before I started painting, every time I needed to correct a mistake, I would be taking off that black base coat, okay? So it's really important it's really important to use, this is what I put on it before I start painting. I do my base coat, whatever color I want my base coat, and then I put Duraclear on it. Oh, cool. There's an app called Mandala Art. You know, I've been looking for apps in the past. What is the tool you're using for the small dots? They are nail dotting tools. Sally Beauty Supply, Facebook, Amazon, that's where you get those at, okay? But they're nail dotting tools. So let me do this last dot right here. In the center of the other dot, not to the side. And what I'm gonna do is the other side of this tool. So I don't know if you can see how big that end is, right? I'm gonna use the other side, which is smaller. Okay, now, and you know what? Sometimes I'll just do one on each side, and then I'll go back with the very smallest tool that I have, and I'll finish walking the dots with that tool. And I'm not sure exactly who coined that term, but that's what we call it, walking the dots. Yeah, I thought that y'all might want to just see something fun tonight instead of watching all the crazy TV. TV's crazy. It's just sad. So, nope, got to lay off the TV tonight and paint. But watching that rocket go up today, that was pretty cool. Can't believe my son was there at the Kennedy Space Center. That's so cool that he got to see that. Okay, so I've got that dot. Now, the reason I didn't walk it all the way up, because those dots would be big, and I want them to fade. I want the dots to fade. So this is going to give me the opportunity to just get them smaller like that and get them to fade. Y'all, this is terrible. Like, I have paint on almost all of my clothes. I have literally clothes that I paint in because I get paint all over me. I'm really bad about it. And so I have a couple of shirts that, like t-shirts, old t-shirts that I wear. Right now I've got an old tank top on. And it's really funny because up towards the shoulder of this tank top, a lot of times when I'm painting with the little tiny end like that, I wipe it on the top of my shirt, y'all. That's terrible to say, but hey, that's the life of an artist, right? We do crazy things. I know I'm not the only one. I painted on journals, and I've had some people say, well, if you paint on a journal, what do you seal it with? Like, you know, it messes up the journal if you try to seal it. I don't seal it with anything. And I'll tell y'all why. Because you see this rag right here? If I take this rag and I put it in the washing machine, these colors are still going to be on this rag. Once this paint sets, it is not coming out of clothes. I mean, if y'all have ever been able to get this paint out of clothes, y'all just tell me. Oh my gosh, Sandy, you do the same thing. That's so funny. I see, I knew I wasn't the only one. But so when I do the journals, or like I really want to get like a canvas bag or something. I've never done one, but I would love to do that. And then I also did a onesie for my granddaughter for the baby shower. I did a little newborn onesie and put her name on it and painted her a mandala on it. And that has never come out either. So, y'all, it is not going to come out of fabric. When my grandsons come over, I have my oldest grandson, he likes to paint. And so he just has a t-shirt here that he puts on when he wants to paint. So, and my granddaughter now, she'll be 3 this year. So she's going to be getting to the point where she's really going to want to start painting. Now, I have to show y'all this. Oh my gosh, let me show you something. I know that I keep stopping, but you know these Mexican beach pebbles, right? This Mexican beach pebble. My granddaughter, from the time she was like, I don't know, able to hold something in her hand, a year old, a little bit over a year old, I would give her a Mexican beach pebble and a paintbrush. Hold on, I gotta show you this. I gotta get a little bit of water. So I would give her a Mexican beach pebble, and I would give her a little bowl of water, right? And I would give her a little paintbrush. And she would sit here and she would dab it and she would just paint that rock and paint it and paint it. Now the thing with Mexican beach pebbles, watch this. Once it's wet, it dries that fast. And so she would get it all wet and I would blow on it and it would be all perfectly dry again and she would do it all over again. And she just played and played with those Mexican beach pebbles and the the water. It was so funny, y'all. Oh, Vanessa. She says she's not a painter, but she loves, and this is relaxing. Thank you so much. I'm glad people really enjoy, even if they don't paint. You know, that's why I kind of call it paint and chat, because even if you don't paint, people have said, oh, it's just so much fun to watch. And that's why, I mean, I add a lot of friends because I just love to be able to go live and chat. You know, and especially right now where people aren't really getting out as much and not able to go over to friends' houses as much and everything. It's kind of nice just to be able to sit and chat and y'all talk to me on Facebook. Well, with all the traveling that I've done, I mean, Ron and I, we traveled for 7 years. He played golf and I was a nurse. I mean, so he had his thing that he did all day and I had my work. He's retired, so he enjoyed being with me and traveling like that. And I'm glad that we did that for so many years. We really had a good time. But grandbabies came along, and I needed to come back home and settle down. And I still have a travel bug in me, but it's been a lot of fun being around all the different rock groups and everything. Because I tell y'all, almost every single town has a rock group. I know people that are in over 1,000 rock groups. That's a lot of rock groups, y'all. Aww. I love that. I love that the kids are watching and they really like it. That's really cool. Okay. I'm going to put one more dot down here. Going to be bigger than the other two. And actually, y'all, this is, you know what? This is just too big. Hold on. Let me get my water over here. Take these off. This is just too big. See? That's how easy it is to correct if you've got the Duraclear on here before you start painting. And I go through a lot of Q-tips. I always keep my water beside me because I have to go. And sometimes I go through more than others. You know, some nights it just doesn't seem to. Let's see, that'll just flake right off of there. And even though it may look like it took off some of the Duraclear, when you put another coat of Duraclear on it, it's just you're not gonna notice that. I'm gonna go back to that one that I called number 1, that Sally Bates crochet hook that is the 3.25 size, if I can find it. Here it is. Yeah, that was my biggest trouble is by the time I would use the largest size nail dotting tool and then I went to my smallest size crochet hook, there just wasn't anything good in the middle. So when I found out that Sally Bates had put out those other smaller crochet hooks, oh my gosh, I was really tickled about that. You know, the rock hiding was really, really popular when it started. I think it was like 2017 because it started right as soon as I started painting rocks. I didn't even know about it until I started posting my rocks on Facebook. And then people started telling me, oh yeah, they had those rocks in my town. Like, are you serious? So, and I still have quite a few of my first rocks. I found a box of them that I had totally forgotten about not long ago. And I still want to go out and hide those because it's just so cool. Now, one of the weird things that I did on this rock was when I did that last dot in the middle, I did the rest of it in white. So I'm going to do that on here. Don't have a clue why I did that on that rock. I just, you know, just one of them things. So I'm going to do the same thing on here. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do a larger white dot on each side. And then I'm going to go back with a smaller size and fade them, walk them up the side. Now, when I top dot, I typically use pearl paints. And my very favorite paint, and the ones that watch me all the time, they know my very favorite pearl paints are Martha Stewart. There is just something about the consistency of those paints, and my very favorite Martha Stewart pearl paint is Mother of Pearl. Not gold Mother of Pearl, but just regular Mother of Pearl Martha Stewart. To me, that paint is just the creamiest. I don't know. The consistency is just so perfect. And so anytime I'm painting with a color and I don't have a pearl paint that will match that color, then I will just mix a little bit of that color with that Martha Stewart Mother of Pearl, and it just turns out perfect. And so, you know, I'm a mom of 3 sons, 3 grandsons, and 1 granddaughter. So me, all those boys in my life, if I can have anything girly, sparkly, pearly, I'm going to have it. Because, you know, that just got to be girly. All them boys. That rag is going to go. It is really giving me let me see. Tiny crochet hooks. The tiny ones are the nail dotting tools, and then these crochet hooks are tiny. Yeah, they're tiny. The other ones that I showed at the beginning of the live, these are Sally Bates Crystallites crochet hooks that I bought, and then I used the flat side of them. And so anybody that wants to see the top of this live, I keep them so you can absolutely go back and replay it. It's public, so you know you can either send me a friend request or you can just go into my photos and look. I keep it public, so, and I don't mind if you share it. So I'm just going to walk the dots up the side. Oops, sorry. I got a little off of the camera there for a second. These are bigger dots up the side. I'm going to have to probably wipe between each row. I don't want a whole lot of paint to get on here. On the tool, because it'll make the dots bigger, and I don't really want them much bigger. But this is walking the dots. And these petals, I don't know, they're a little odd shape, but we deal with it, right? We never really know what it's going to look like until it gets done. And I will do a couple more ovals in just a minute, because that's what is... That's what's coming up next, is I have another oval to do. Ovals can be made with so many things, y'all. Like I said, I use screwdrivers, push-on, pencil erasers, emery board. Golly, so many different things. Lots of household stuff. And you know, before I got my nail dotting tools, when I first started dotting, I would take pencils, and I would push like pins and nail heads and all kinds of stuff into the pencil eraser to dot with. So even before I ever got nail dotting tools, I was still finding things around the house to dot with. Almost missed that. Okay. Okay, we're almost done with this part of it, y'all. Now comes the fun part, like the super fun part. I love top dotting, y'all know that. The ones that watch me all the time know that I love doing the top dots. And we are almost at that point. Okay. I'm going to put a white dot on each one of these, between each one. I think that it is going to be thick enough, the paint is thick enough that I don't have to worry about it looking like it's going to run. Usually the smaller dots aren't as bad about that as those big dots, like those big pink dots. The smaller dots aren't as bad. Whoops, I'm getting a little bit out of the camera, sorry. I tried to watch it. And I'm gonna do those last dots in that same green, I believe. Teal. Peacock blue is what it's called. Americana. Peacock blue. And these are going to be ovals that are going to be used with the pencil eraser. I've never used a knitting needle. These crochet hooks have a flat bottom. Most crochet hooks don't have a flat bottom, but these crochet hooks have a flat bottom, and that's why they work. See that end right there? It's flat. I mean, I guess you probably could. What is that? Look, y'all. I've been doing this for years, and I haven't dotted with the top of it. Let me see what the top does. It just gives me a circle. But that's cool to know. Look at that. A pretty circle. What does this little one do? How little is that circle? Woo, that's pretty small. Hey, that's pretty cool. Might have just learned something here. That's kind of cool. Thank you, Rhonda. Okay, so hoping this isn't going to run too much. Going to use push-on pencil eraser. And going to go, it's going to be a little hard to see. I'm going to try and prop it up a little bit. But I'm going to go this side. And then that side. And then one in the middle. The goal is that they don't touch. And that the paint's thick enough that it doesn't run. And I don't think it's going to be too bad. It is a lot of fun to work with these perfectly circular stones. It's different when, you know, you're working with the Mexican beach pebbles and they're all different shapes and sizes. And that's fun too. I mean, but it's just something about with the mandalas and trying to get them, you know, to stay so symmetrical. I really love these round stones. a lot of times when I work with the Mexican beach pebbles, I do things that are off center. Just because sometimes it is so hard to keep things directly in the center. I have found, though, that once I started using that wound measuring guide, and that's literally what that thing is for, to measure a wound, it made life so much easier because I could truly find the middle of the stone without having to try to measure and all of that stuff. For those of you that weren't on earlier, this is a wound measuring guide. It's just a very pliable piece of plastic. McKesson wound measuring guide. So you can put that in the center of your stone, and I poke a little hole through it right there, and then like use a pencil or something and figure out where the center of my stone is when I'm working with other stones other than these. These circular stones, they have a little point right in the middle. So you can always find the middle of this like really super easy because it just tells you where it's at. It's right there, the little point in the middle. I had a lot of paint still on that, so I probably could get that. Now, when you wipe a pencil eraser, wipe it flat. If you don't, you'll start wearing off the bottom of it. And your dots, well, your ovals will start getting bigger and bigger where you've wiped it off at. See, tips and tricks. Gotta be very careful now. So these are the last dots that I'm actually gonna do, and then I'm gonna show you a little bit of top dotting. And the top dotting, it doesn't take a whole, it doesn't, because the stone is already dry from the very top, the stuff that we did an hour ago. Oh my gosh. Look, y'all, an hour and a half ago. I told y'all, I try to do these fast, but I talk and it just doesn't turn out fast. Look, I need to do that again. Okay, now, top dotting. So I use a darker color, offset a darker color with a lighter color. I use different. This is a Martha Stewart. Let's see what the name is. Party Streamer. This is a new Martha Stewart bottle. These are the old Martha Stewart bottles. It's the same paint. It's just she's got a new kind of bottle. This one's called Pink Pajamas. There's a dark pink called Fruit Punch. And I don't have any teal, like this color teal. So I'm going to make a couple of pearl paints just off of this. So I'm going to use this Martha Stewart Mother of Pearl. Okay, whoa. Look at that. See? Don't judge me. I waste paint. I'm glad y'all are enjoying this. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of the peacock teal that I already had in here, and I'm just going to mix it in with that pearl paint, and it's going to turn into a pearl color. Okay? And then there's one other thing, and I'm going to put that on this stone. And y'all have heard me talk about this before. I don't even know where I'm going to get this now because Nicole's paint came from AC Moore. And when AC Moore got sold to Michael's, Nicole's did not come with that deal. Nicole's is not going to sell their paints to Michael's. And so because I've always been around AC Moore a lot, I have a lot of Nicole's paints. like this, Nicole's, right? Nicole's. But Nicole's did a multi-surface paint, a glitter acrylic called Candy Pink. And it is the most amazing pink glitter that you will find. So I'm gonna do these big dots with that glitter. The glitter is very translucent when it gets put in, but it dries really pretty. So I'm gonna put that on with a tool that's one size smaller than what I used before, okay, to paint the dot. And I'm gonna try and do them small enough to where they're not gonna drip. Whoops, sorry, sometimes I get off of the, I gotta follow my lines. I know where I'm supposed to be, but let's see, I just don't want this to drip. That's the point, don't let it drip. Whoa, that's gonna drip. Hold on, I gotta hold it up for a second. That helped. But it really does dry so pretty. I wish I had a glitter teal. I wonder if I have a clear glitter that I could put some teal with. I've never tried to do that. I think I do have a clear glitter. But I don't know if taking the, okay, let me kind of hold that up just for a second so they don't, see, they flatten out, but they don't, I just don't want it to run. Okay, now, plain old mother of pearl. That goes to the petals. Now, when I did petals like these petals up here, usually I only top dot the center dot on the petals. Don't ask me why. That's just all I've ever done because oh, look at that. Ooh. Okay, I gotta quit talking for a minute. And I think I'm gonna take that off. Hold on. You have to be really careful with the, when you try to take off a glitter because it smears the glitter around. And even the pearl paints, it'll smear them. So this is the more intricate work that I do, but I think that this is what really starts to make the stone. It just makes the stones pop. And tomorrow in the daylight, when I take a picture, and then I'll post the picture, and usually I give my stones away that I paint live to somebody that has commented or share. That's what I put on there today. I had 4 color palettes up on my personal page, and I said, okay, y'all, help me pick the color palette for tonight. This was the color palette that won. And so I said, if you comment and you share, then I'll put you in a drawing to win the stone. So now, one thing that I do that is kind of cool is I don't really know what you call it, but I can dot the top of a dot. So now, look at this. You see how that looked? I dot the top of those. A lot of times when I do the petals, I mean the ovals, when I want to dot the ovals, I end up dotting the top of the oval. It's just something that I kind of started doing when I first started doing the ovals, and it just kind of stuck with me. Y'all, it's really cool because sometimes I'll just look at pages, and I do have a lot of people that go in and watch the videos and stuff, and I'll see a stone that has the ovals and the little tops of the ovals are dotted and all that. I'm like, look at that. They watched my video, and I love it. And it's very flattering to me that people, you know, do copy them. And like I said, I do give people permission to copy them. But I take it as flattery. Okay, now, these little tiny ones around the top, I am going to dot them very carefully. And I hold my hand and I put my other hand on it to steady my hand. Okay, so you might see me. Okay. I have a song going through my head. I mean, I love music. I love music. I love all kinds of music. And I listen to contemporary Christian music, old-time gospel music. I listen to pop music, country music, old rock and roll. I don't know much of the new rock and roll. Is there new rock and roll? I guess there's, I guess that's more like, I don't know. Anyway, you know, old rock and roll. And there's a song that, you know, when you're in grocery stores or something and you hear a song and you think, oh, I've heard that song on the radio before. The song is called Cake by the Ocean. Who knows this song? It's a really catchy song. And I heard it the other day in a store and I'm like, that's what that song is called, Cake by the Ocean. And so I was listening to Cake by the Ocean today. Yes. Oh, and let me tell you about the handshaking. When I first started to dot, my hands would shake so bad that I was like, I'm not going to be able to do this. I don't have a steady enough hand. Well, what happened was I stuck with it. And after about 2 weeks, literally, of painting, you know, I'd get off work, come home, I'd paint. After about 2 weeks, it stopped. And I was like, wow, and now if I go a week without painting, and I also can't talk because I hold my breath while I'm painting really intricate stuff. When I go a few days without painting, I shake again. And that just shows me how relaxing this is for me. Y'all, something just happened there. I am getting rid of that rag because that was lint. Look at that lint. I have a X-Acto knife that I use for very, very fine things. I think I got that lint off of there. Hold on a minute. Pointy Q-tips are the bomb. Perfect. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get rid of that rag because it's just too linty. Linty, is that a word? Linty. That's why I use my shirt, y'all. I keep looking at my husband's phone to see the comments. I know I missed some of them, and I'm sorry I missed some of your I'm sorry I missed some of your comments, y'all. I usually go back and try to catch them. I'm going to go back and get those smaller ones, but I'm going to use a smaller dot. So if the, and y'all, I am barely touching this tool to the paint in the paint dish. Barely. I mean, you can hardly see it move when I'm touching the paint. Let me put this over here for a second so you can see what I'm talking about. Like a gnat hitting the water, right? Just barely touching it. Breathe. Don't forget to breathe. These are the parts that make the stone look very intricate. Whoa, that was too big a dip. And I do still shake a little. I mean, this is like really intricate work, y'all. I'm just kidding. Okay. Now, I have these drag dots, and I want to put something at the end of the drag dot because I don't like just seeing the point, because like all the points aren't the same. So I'm going to take a little tiny white dot. I'm mixing this up because the light has made it dry a little bit. Not so dry that I can't use it, but I'm going to put a dot on the tip end of each one of those drag dots. And if it runs into some of them where I've walked the dot, well, it just does. I don't know. Let me make sure y'all can see my stone. Let me get this back here in the middle. Anyway, the drag dots. I'm putting a dot at the tip end of them. I seem to do that a lot. I don't know that a lot of other people do that, but I seem to do it. I like it that way. I do some stones where I'll turn the eraser sideways and make a oblong dot at the end of some of them. I don't know if I can find one now that I've done that too. Let me see. Oh yeah. So here's one that I did the other day in very much the same color. In fact, it might just be the same color. You see this one? On these, you see that oval dot? So those are just drag dots that I made. And then I did the eraser like this and made these little ovals going this way at the end of, I call those a feather. I think I did this one online. I think I made a video of this one, y'all. Look, I think that was the last video I made. Oh my gosh, 2 videos with the same colors in a row. My goodness. I'm gonna have to do a blue next because, okay, now I'm gonna put a dot on the end of these drag dots. Like that. It's been almost 2 hours, y'all. If you can't hang in there, just remember, I always save my videos. You can go back and watch it. But for y'all that are hanging out with me, I so appreciate it. It is so much fun to paint and chat. I wish I could hear y'all. That would be super cool. Like doing this on a Zoom. Oh my gosh. People are like, you should get a YouTube channel. But I can't really interact with you like this if I get a YouTube channel. It's not the same. That's why, I mean, it's not the same. Okay, what am I going to do now? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this little tiny end and I'm going to put, well, I need a little bit more paint. I need another drop because this is getting a little skim over it and it's right up under the light. So these two little dots on each side of the one that I already dotted, I'm gonna do my best to do them the same way and put a little dot at the very top. That one needs to be a little bit bigger. Whew. Talk about holding your breath while you dot. I could not have done this in the beginning because I did shake too bad. But stay at it. That's all I can tell you is if you shake, just keep working on it. You will get that control. And it may take a while, but you'll get it. Just keep practicing. And in the meantime, love it anyway. See, look at my rock that I made with my shaky hands. Who cares? It's my rock. People are going to love it. I don't know about y'all, but I love finding rocks just as much as I like hiding rocks. I love finding a rock. It makes my day. And I'm not bragging. I'm really not bragging. But I love finding rocks from out of state. Like I found a rock from Jacksonville, Florida, which is why I joined that group. In Virginia, I found that one. And in Virginia, I also found a stone from Vermont, which was just super cool. But my stones, they don't move. I've never seen one be re-hidden, and that's okay. I don't mind that at all. It's just that I don't really hide them. I hide them in the open, right? So my stones, you'll find a lot of times, most of the time, on lampposts. Like I'll go up to Walmart or Kroger or somewhere like that, and I'll put them out on a lamppost because they're found easily. And I don't seal them in anything that's going to make them weatherproof. I only seal them in door clear, and then sometimes I resin. But they're just, you know, that's okay. They just don't really move around. I'm glad that people that find them love them and want to keep them. Whoa, I just hit that. Okay, I'm going to go back to the mother of pearl, and I'm going to top dot that white that I put around. And then I've also got to top dot the white on each side of the of that last petal where I put those white dots. Sometimes with metallic paints and pearl paints, you have to be really careful. They kind of are stringy, and if you don't give it time, you'll mess up your picture, your painting, because that stringy old line will. What do I need to do? Hold on, y'all. I'm thinking. I need to put something on this one. I need to top dot that with something. I'm trying to figure out what I want to top dot it with. Because if I top dot it with something too light, you're not going to notice that it's actually top dotted. I might top dot it with something darker. I think that's what I'm going to do. Sometimes when I run out of space on my palette, I'll put it right there on the top of my palette because I'm only going to use a little bit anyway. Okay, this is one that's stringy. See how that is? That's stringy. So I just have to be careful. Whoa, that looks good. So you just have to get it on your tool and wait until that string drops down. And, you know, we, all of us, we know about the whole Kindness Rocks movement, and we get the whole thing about hiding rocks and everything. You know, I went to work and I saw one of the administrators at the nursing home. I went into his office and there was a painted rock on his desk. And I'm like, wow, look at this. And he's like, oh yeah, somebody gave that to me. They found it in the parking lot, and, you know. And I said, well, I flipped it over and I saw the name of the rock group. And I'm like, well, did you post it? And he's like, no, I didn't post it. He's like, what are you supposed to do? I'm like, you're supposed to post it in the rock group that you found that rock. And I said, then the artists and the other people in the rock group will know that you've gotten the rock. And he said, oh, I didn't know you were supposed to do that. So I ended up taking a picture of him with that rock and joining the group and putting it on there. And, you know, he had had that rock for 2 years. And the person who painted that rock was still in that group and saw it. That was just the coolest thing. But a lot of people, they don't know anything about Kindness Rocks. They don't know about, you know, I tell so many people, you know, I paint rocks. And they're like, oh, well, that's cool. And I'm like, well, do you know about, have you heard about the Kindness Rocks, you know, movement? And they're like, no, what is that? And I'm like, well, people paint rocks and hide rocks, and little kids paint rocks, and it really, you know, it's anybody and anything they want to paint. Sometimes it's just a rock with color on it, and that makes somebody happy. It makes me happy every time I find a rock. I don't care what kind of rock it is. I love painted rocks. And I'm in a group called 50 State Rock Swap, and in that group, we trade state rocks, right? So we trade rocks that are representative of a certain state. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up on some of the comments, y'all. Give me 1 second. Oh, I missed a white dot at the end of a drag. Oh, I gotta find it. I see it. Thank you. That would have been one of those things, you do her clear and then you're looking and you're like, oh my gosh, I gotta go back. Whoop, there you go. So as soon as that dries now, I have to remember to go back and put a pearl dot on that. Y'all are great. You keep me sane. Oh, I know. Sometimes it is so hard to get rid of some of them. But, I got my white dot. Hang on, I'm going to show you this state rock. So I'm in Virginia. So the state rock that people get from me when they trade a state rock with me is this one. Virginia is for lovers. And because that's our, you know, that's what Virginia says. That's their state motto or whatever. And a blue above. There's a teal when you miss too. Okay, y'all, I gotta watch these things. Hold on. I'm looking. Oh, I see it. Yay. Okay. Got it. I got it. Anyway, this is my state rock. Now, I've got green and brown for our mountains, and I've got blue for our ocean. And then that's me right there. But that's my Virginia is for Lovers rock. And just to show you a couple that I have gotten, I'll show you. People have sent me these. Look at this. This one is Ohio. Somebody sent me Ohio. No, Iowa. I'm sorry. It's Iowa. Somebody sent me New Jersey. That is really super cool. And look at this one with the Georgia peach. Love it. Oh my gosh. So I have a lot of states to go. But, and I do think I have an Ohio, but I'm not sure where it's at. But I like doing the rock swap. It's pretty cool. Okay, now on these right here, just going to go with this lighter colored. You know, if you've got a dark color, you dot with a light color. And if you've got a light color, then you can dot with the darker color. But I'm just going to go around, top dot these. And we are very close to finishing. Y'all better tell me if I miss one. You know, it's getting late. Well, some of y'all, it's not quite as late as it is here in Virginia. Whoa, almost got off there a little bit. Whoa. Okay, let's see what this is looking like. Now, I'm going to go back and I'm going to do a tiny one. This really is a pretty color palette, I think. I'm into teals and pinks too. You know, it's funny because I probably paint more blue rocks than anything else. And you know, one of the rock groups said, let me see your black and white rocks. And do you know, I have never painted just a black and white rock. So that is something that I am going to do this coming week, is black and white. Now, not even with gray. I did a black and white and red. I've put red in it. That's really pretty. But I have never done just a plain black and white rock. Oh, yeah, Andrea, you do need to make me a Florida. I don't have a Florida. Okay, now this color that I made, this pearly color, I think I'm gonna just go ahead and dot these with that green pearly color, just to give it a little bit more. That might be making my that might be making this not have a good. I don't want it to get where it's blurry. I hope it's not blurry for y'all. Okay, did I miss any of them? I'm usually pretty good about catching them before I do the final seal, and I'm probably a little bit better when I'm not talking it too, but I do miss them. And I'll post a picture and then I'm like, oh man, look at this. I missed a dot. I noticed them and I'm going to put that pearl back on that one or I will forget it. The other thing that I do, y'all, is I cannot paint, like letters and stuff like that. Pictures, letters, nothing like that. I have a Cricut cutting machine. And so what I do is I use vinyl on my stones. So let me show you a couple of examples of vinyl on the stones, okay? Here's a Minnie Mouse that I did. This is vinyl. And actually this stone right here was resin, so it's got a very shiny, glassy look to it. And I resin this one too. And this is vinyl. And it's got some glitter in it because I put some glitter dust in the vinyl. And then this one is a sunflower that I did, and the outline of the sunflower is vinyl. And then these are made by triple dotting. So you put a white dot down, a black dot, and then another white dot on top of it. And it gives it a really cool feel too, because they're so raised. But yeah, I really like using vinyl a lot. And so you'll see some of my stones that have the vinyl on them. I did a Mickey too. They match. They're little hearts. That's out of a mold. That's out of one of the molds, just like the round ones. We have a heart-shaped mold. So they're molded rocks. And that's where the Virginia is for lovers. That's where that came from. That's vinyl. And I just cut it with the Cricut, and then I put it on there. Now y'all can see, look how that, look how those glitter dots ended up. I don't know, you can't see it as good as I can, but, and I'm gonna do one more of those glitter dots. Look at this, I'm gonna do one more on this bottom, on that stone, on this dot. All the way around. Have a little bit more glitter on it. Because you can never have enough pearl and glitter. You just can't. And I have to go around and do the mother of pearl on those too. On those white dots right there. And then this thing will be done. I can't believe that. Oh, let's see. I got 45 viewers right now. Y'all are really hanging in there. I don't know if y'all started at the beginning at 8 o'clock. But if you did not catch the beginning, you can go back and watch the beginning. Okay, so now that I've done those, I'm going to do these, the ones that I did with the eraser. I'm going to put a dot. Well, actually, let me get this mother of pearl on here first. I'm going to do that all the way around. So y'all see the difference between what it looked like plain and what it looks like with all this top dotting going on. I mean, it just looks like a totally different stone. And I don't know, every time I'm like, oh, well, should I do more? Well, of course you should do more. It's top dotting. You'll look at it and you'll go, am I done? Heavens, no, you're not done. Keep going. Layers of dots look really, really cool. And that's when people are like, wow, that's crazy. Okay, now I'm gonna do this. This one right here. Because remember, I do pretty much everything. But I just do those middles. Just do the middle ones on those. I mean, I've done them all the way up, but it's hard. I mean, because they're tiny. So it's a lot harder. And so I don't think you really notice that the whole thing is not done. Than to do it and it all be messed up, you know. And I'm going to do, oh, is that it? Okay, now what I was going to do on these is like a pearl. Looks like jewelry or something. these little pearls. I don't know how well y'all can see that. Let me check my comments. Oh, it's mesmerizing. Oh, y'all are so sweet. People do those diamond dots. Y'all know I've never done one. I've never done the diamond dots, but I bet I would love it. I do wear cheaters, so I have magnifying glasses on that you can get for $1 at Dollar Tree. Believe it or not, don't be going anywhere and paying a lot of money for magnifying glasses. They have lots and lots of different styles, lots and lots of different strengths. I did have to go up a strength after my bout with my eye shingles this past month. Well, no, actually March. I was in the hospital because I got zoster in my eye, and it has affected my vision. So I have to may end up needing real glasses, but that's kind of still yet to be seen. So we are hoping for the best. And there's one more thing that I really want to do on this. I need to do that middle dot right there. And I have another color of pink. Whoa, that I can use for that. Let me get this back here where y'all can see it. Sorry. Y'all are probably like, golly, she wastes a lot of paint. Hey, this paint goes a long way. I haven't had to buy paint in a long time. I buy it because I want every color on the earth. Even though it's not necessary. That's my habit. You know, I don't get after people that sell their stones every now and then. I mean, golly, you're not going to make a fortune off of it, but it sure can help you pay for your habit. That's a funny thing about it. You pay for the habit. I haven't ever gone for a whole lot of the really expensive paints. Y'all, I think this is done. Oh, no, it's not done. Look, the center needs to be done. I'm trusting that y'all would tell me if I missed something, right? Let me do the center, y'all. Okay. Yay. She is done. Okay. Anybody that wants to hang with me just a couple more minutes, I swear it won't be long. I know I've been on here for like 2 hours already. I'm going to show you something really quick. Here's a little stone, okay? Well, actually, I need to do another top coat on that. This little stone right here. I'm going to set this one aside so we can start drying, but I'm going to show you something really quick. Quick and easy, okay? These right here. I got a lot of comments off of these little stones, and I'm going to show you really quick how to do it, okay? I got some yellow, red, and green. Hold on a minute. That's what we're going to use. We're going to use yellow, red, and green. Whoa. They are Americana, same thing. The green actually is a What is that green? I love that green. That green is a folk art, multi-surface, lime green, okay? Multi-surface lime green. But let me just show you how fast and easy these are to do. These are some fun stones to paint really fast. The kids can help you, and they're just really fast. And I'm sure, you know, people would just love to get these stones and to find these stones, okay? That indoor-outdoor paint is thicker and actually kind of leaves a little like texture, leaves a texture, okay? So if you want to do one of these, what I start out with is a white dot. Whoa, put a lot out there. I'm using my nail dotting tool, okay? I don't know what is on it. Let me do this side of it. That looks better. Okay, I'm gonna put some white dots on here. Those are gonna be the center of my flowers. Okay? Okay, so there's some flowers. Now, I'm gonna take lots of different things. First of all, I'm gonna take a craft stick, like a tongue depressor, whatever you wanna call it, right? Look, people are joining now and going, I thought she was painting this other rock. Yes, Rhonda, I was in the hospital the same day you had your gallbladder removed. That was terrible. My husband just was like, what? Okay, I'm gonna use the tongue depressor. Gonna put some on the edge of the tongue depressor, and I'm gonna go on the top, on the bottom, on the side, and on the side. So I've made a cross, right? Now I'm gonna go in the middle, trying my best not to let them touch. If they do, they do. But it's fun. It's just a really fun little stone. Uh-oh, see, that touched. But hey, if you're looking at flowers out in the wild, sometimes they touch, don't they? Their petals aren't perfect, right? So we're not gonna worry about that. Now I'm gonna do a yellow one. We'll do a yellow one over here. Okay. Now, you say, well, you're really close to that white dot and you may not have room to do that on the white dot. Well, on the white dot, we'll use something other than a tongue depressor. I'm a nurse, so I call it a tongue depressor. I think if you go to Michael's, they call it a craft stick. Sorry. Look at that. Look at those little flowers. Oh my gosh, these are so fun. Now I'm going to use a wood coffee stir. And on that one that's really close to that one in the middle, I'm just going to do it a different way. Now, I'm just going to go around the sides of this one because I might not have room to do 8 of those petals. So I'm just going to go around and see how much room I have. So, there you go. There's another little flower. Okay. How about we do a pink flower? And on this flower, I'm going to use, we're going to use something round. I don't know. I didn't kind of test this out first, so, you know, who knows how this will actually turn out. But I'm just trying to show you how easy it is to do little designs. Look at that. Just little designs that you can do with the kids or whatever. And I think on this side, I'm going to use the pencil eraser. And just do a couple more flowers. Okay. And on that last one right there, I think I'm going to use something really thin. So I'm going to use this coffee stirrer from Panera Bread. Okay. So I'm going to show you how this looks. Look at that. Is that cool or what? And I'm just going to go all the way around it. Now, of course, the middle of your flowers could be literally any color you wanted them to be. You could put yellow in the middle. But these are just super fun, fast little stones that you can make and go hide, brighten someone's day. So some big petals, some little petals. Okay, now this is what kind of makes the magic of these stones. This green that I have out, I'm going to use the pencil eraser. And I'm just going to make some petals. Sorry, y'all. I'm not doing it where you can see very well. I don't know about that one. No rhyme or reason to it, right? Just all kinds of little leaves. We're making leaves. Okay. Now, you can go back and put green dots. Let's see. This one had some green dots on it. This one had some white dots on it. You could leave room to write a word. I think I'm going to do white dots on this one. And so these are just random. Polka dots. Random polka dots. Different sizes. Okay, yeah, that's my wildflower stone, y'all. Okay, there she is. There's wildflowers. Okay, y'all. It is time to give it up for the night. Okay? This is our masterpiece. In the morning, I will use DuraClear to give it another coat. And I will take it out in the daylight and take a picture of it and post it on my page so y'all can actually see what the finished stone look like. But I really do appreciate everyone coming on. This was really a lot of fun. I hit my goal. I said I wanted to see 100 live people on here at one time, and it was absolutely awesome that we did that. So, oh my gosh, Renee, I wouldn't have thought about the eraser caps either, but man, it is really, they really work good. Oh yeah, you could use the coffee stirrer and put them right on the red petals. Yeah, absolutely. You could just do so many things. So I hope y'all enjoyed tonight. Definitely watch out for more videos, and I'll try to share in the groups. And you know what? On these little ones right here, you can always put that top dot, you know, that dot right at the very top, and make them actually look more like flowers. So there's a lot you could do with them. So, but I really enjoy being on here. Thank you for everybody that hung with me, and I will see y'all later. I'm gonna try and save this now so that y'all can go back and watch it later if you want to. Good night, everybody.